The bounty hunters. Whatever the thing is, it's growing closer. Staggering. Its gait is like that of a badly injured person. There's a wet, streaking sound as it skids along the wall and it approaches the door that Airfarce right nearby. The man's breathing quiets to the point of being completely inaudible as they all strain their ears as he gets ready to move. There's another gurgle as the thing approaches and begins to enter the room. Then, a swift and brutal smacking sound followed by a thunk and a wet splat sounds out as Airfarce strikes. "It's down," Airfarce says. "Also, I don't think it has skin. It's crudely human-shaped as far as I can tell," Pukey says, taking 4 steps before crouching down next to Airfarce and the struggling creature. He hears some movement and catches its arms to stop it thrashing. "Radius ulna, these are very human arms. I can feel a layer of slime, but no muscles," Airfarce confirms as the thing struggles. "No muscles or tendons here either. It's a gooey skeleton," Pukey adds. "All right, I'm already sick of this. Give me a few moments," Bike says out loud. They hear his gear hit the floor and he starts toying with it. "Chainbreaker Actual. Come in, Chainbreaker Actual. Do you read?" There's a huge amount of static and interference in the signal that bleeds through. "Hunters. Hunter Squadron. Do you read?" Snaky's voice comes through in desperation. "We read you, Snaky, loud and clear," Bike says with no small amount of relief in his own voice. "For the love of... Can I go back to Scaly, please?" Snaky asks. "Remember the rule of nicknames, kiddo," Bike says, and although it can't be seen, the smile can be heard. "If you're dumb enough to complain, then you deserve a dumber name." "Yeah, I remember. What next? Wiggles? Worm Boy? Wiggles the Worm Boy?" "Love the suggestions, but we'll let it slide as you have something we want." "What? I gotta blackmail you people now? What the hell is going on?" Snaky demands. "We're in pitch black darkness. Light does not exist here, so even mechanical eyes and lights don't do a thing. We have hostiles and we need input from the nerds. Is it safe to sense Axiom here? Is there a trap?" Bike asks. "Give me a moment. I got the report here," Snaky says, and there's a tapping sound. "No danger. Not really. But extreme danger too. You're basically inside a gigantic Gravia-like thing. Living Axiom organism with a central point. You can look, but there's going to be so much bullshit in the way it might not do any good. So we can be hit by Axiom bullshit at any time, and any Axiom bullshit from us is just facing the thing in its own arena," Bike asks. "Basically, you're in the jaws of the beast, and if it starts to think you're tasty, it can and will snap shut on you," Snaky says. "It sounds more like we're in its liver and can presumably begin a shanking at our will," Bike notes. "More of a mutual knife to the throat time. It can attack at any moment, but if you want to really screw it up, you can," Snaky explains, and Bike lets out a hum. "All right, someone else try to sense through Axiom because I already did the eye bleed bullshit and one of you can be the test dummy this time," Bike remarks, and Pukey snorts. "Oh, you big babies, stand by," Airfarce says, and he opens up his senses to the beyond. "Woo! That is a big bitch! Holy shit!" "What do you see?" Pukey asks steadily. "A lot. Nothing local. There's too much it's in the way of the smaller effects. Damn it." Airfarce grunts, and since he's not in pain and just frustrated, Pukey focuses and senses into the Axiom. It's like being lectured by 3 people, and no one is trying to keep you on target. The bits of Axiom sensing he interprets as audio is sheer fucking gibberish, and while not screaming in his ear, is still a heavy and discordant drone. The visual of the Axiom is like shoving his face against the page of some blueprints and only being able to see a small part of it. The sheer density of Axiom effects causes him to step back with a slight curse. He can't interpret this. It doesn't seem dangerous, just very distracting and not something that can help him from this angle. Useless. There's too much information. Pure chaff. Maybe, but it's interesting chaff, Airfarce answers. We should still go with minimal axiom use. Refine your radars, men. Pukey orders, and there's some sounds of acknowledgement over the struggling and gurgling of the gooey skeleton. As the men focus and refine the sense, they get more and more details out of the thrashing thing. They also naturally calm their own breathing and silence themselves so they can hear the world around them better. Heads up, I'm about to stab this thing, Airfar says, and he can sort of hear Pukey get out of the way. Then he buries his combat knife in the thing's chest. No resistance beyond the bone, it's hollow. He turns the blade with a sickening crack, and whatever axiom effect is animating the thing is broken, and it goes still. Someone see if you can find a way out of here. If we can simply throw this thing into the light and have a look at it, I'd be appreciative. Pukey notes as he starts poking the carcass all over, trying to make some more sense of it. Without being able to sense anything useful in the axiom, he had no way of knowing how it was powered and animated. Little tracings of Kutha or infused markings on the bones would have done it. But he can't see a damn thing, and he can only feel the general shape through both his armor and the gunk. Unfortunately for Pukey, there's no way back out, which means that there's no examining the skeleton. So he pulls off a finger, shakes it around to get the gunk off, and places it in a small pouch. The gooey skeleton is thrown to the side, and with a slight tapping on the walls and deliberate stomps, the men move out and reach the next room. The echoes in the room are different. The carpet is a little thicker, and the room has different dimensions. The men walk around the walls, and a pair of doors are found. The hat calls them all over with a whistle, and they form up on him, ready to attack as he opens the door. Nothing. More darkness, and it's a small closet. No way out. Floor, walls, and ceiling are all checked to no effect. They head to the other door, and after Mr. T counts them down under his breath, he throws open the door and everyone pauses. There's light in the room, but not beyond it. They can see inside the room, but in complete defiance to the way light actually works, it refuses to spill out. Okay, what the fuck? Dong demands crossly. That's just bullshit. Welcome to the fucking galaxy, Dong. Name one mission where it wasn't steeped in bullshit. Pukey replies as he regards the large pedestal with an eye the size of a grapefruit on it. I know, but come on, there should be a point of critical mass. Dong protests, and there's some chuckles and sighs around the group. Well, yes, but we can agree that this cloning conundrum counts as higher-end nonsense, Pukey states. Cloning conundrum. Think of that yourself, did you? Dong demands, and Pukey gives him a swat on the side of the head. Ow, son of a bitch. Need I remind you that we're behind enemy lines and with massively impaired visuals? Enough chatter. We know vaguely where we are, and since our usual method of egress from this area is gone, we find another. We're hitting up the building across the street, Pukey states. Sir, what if the building is absent? Every variant to this space has had its minor differences in addition to unique environmental configurations. What if this one does not have another building? Itchy asks. We'll burn that bridge when we reach it. For now, we assume the general layout is the same. We're going over this place with a fine-toothed comb to find a way out, and if that doesn't work, we start breaking things until we get to sea again, or we make a way out, Pukey says. I like that plan, the hat says. You like any plan that involves breaking something. Mr. T taunts him. Well, pardon me for being consistent. The hat sniffs. Girls, you're both pretty wee. There's the sound something swinging through the air as Tang dips back. Ha! Missed. All right, enough bullshit. Shut the door and let's get moving. The faster we figure this shit out, the faster we can see again. Pukey orders, and the door to the one room with light in the area is closed. I'm still trying to figure that shit out, Itchy says. What? Vision works by light bouncing off of things and entering our eyes. The wavelengths that go flying off when the radiation hits things is what determines things like color, and such and similar factors tell us other things. But by the sheer fact we could see that room, its light should have spilled out. Otherwise, we would have only been able to see the room while in the room, but it didn't happen that way. We could see the room just fine anyways, which means that this place simply isn't dark and light devouring, but we're being actively stopped from seeing things. This darkness isn't darkness. It's some kind of matte black effect blocking everything. We're not in shadow. We're all painted stark black. Our gear is painted black, and so is our entire environment. This is a fucked up camouflage effect, Itchy explains at length before huffing a few breaths after. Yes. Pukey agrees after a moment. What? Itchy demands. You're right, mostly. If we were under complete camouflage, we would still be able to see one another's eyes with the spillover light from that room. We still don't know what's going on. Pukey answers. Something like a one-way mirror? We can see that light, but only that light? Is there something different about the light in that room? There's the sound of movement from Bike as he shrugs. I don't know myself, but I don't think we're in any position to study it or try to figure it out. This is just something to try and break a nerd's brain with later in my book. Well then, we'll have a video call to look forward to. I'm pretty sure our on-suit cameras caught that bit of light fuckery, thankfully. My cyber eye was able to easily enough. Pukey notes calmly. Still, talking leads us nowhere. Form up on me. We're finding our way out of this dark hell one way or another. They take formation behind him, and he leads the way to the door. It's about a foot to the right of where he expected it to be, and it takes a moment for him to find the handle. Thankfully, they all heard his fumbling and accommodated, and he leads them out. The echoes of their bootfalls sound out into the distance, and the sense of the invisible yawning expanse all around them is downright intimidating. Someone starts a low, breathy whistle that just moves outwards and echoes off nothing. Not even the building behind them. It's like they stepped into an utterly empty void. 10 steps forward and they have not crossed the street, nor have they after 20. Head back. This realm is far more different than the others. Pukey orders and they start to head back. 30 paces and nothing. The building is no longer there. Another 20 and there's still nothing. Whatever has happened and they're out in the middle of nothingness and stark blind. Well, fuck, the hat whispers. Fuck this, Pukey says as he starts pulling on the axiom and paying far, far more attention to it. He's looking for something specific, ignoring the chaff, and thankfully finds something that looks like it in a hurry. He reaches out with both his left arm and the axiom to latch onto a specific part of the pattern around him, and pulls. The darkness shatters with a frenzied and sudden beat of the, until then, silent heart that had hung invisibly above. The temperature rockets up and the area is covered in slowly falling ashes like a light snow. The heart continues to beat rapidly but slowly calms down and relaxes before settling entirely. The area doesn't change, however. What the fuck was that? Bike demands. We tried playing nice and it tried to fuck with us, so I fucked it right back. Pukey replies. Not that. That was fucking awesome, but how? Bike demands. I looked for a controlling aspect and reached out and yanked it. It's all a controlling aspect. The entire thing is a living axiom construct. It's a program in the energy field. How did you find the right one? I felt for a resonance similar to my own heartbeat. The thing up there is a heart. I have a heart and I have axiom inside me even if I don't need it. It gave me an accurate enough answer to find the equivalent here, Pukey answers as he glances around the area. Char, ash, embers, and burnt refuse. They're definitely in the literal hot zone.